All right. So the Tuesday question asks you about consecutive integers. And we did not do our lesson on consecutive integers yesterday just because it just took us too long to grade the homework and then get through the other activities. Okay. So here's where we are. Did you find something? Okay. So the first thing that we need to talk about is consecutive integers. So when I say that we're going to do a problem with consecutive integers, what does that mean? What do consecutive integers mean? Any ideas? Consecutive integers are numbers like 4, 5, and 6, or -5, -4, and -3. Okay, that's what a consecutive integer is. It's numbers that follow in a row. They get bigger as we go on, right? So if I let the first number equal x, how would I show the next number? Not for consecutive, not right in a row. What am I adding? What do I add to 4 to get to 5? 1. So this would be x plus 1. What would I add to 4 to get to 6? X plus 2. And it would go on and on, right? X plus 3 and so on. That's how I represent consecutive integers. So sometimes you're asked to find consecutive integers, but sometimes you're asked to find consecutive odd or even integers. Like, I don't want to use a negative. I'm just going to count by evens. So how about if we did 4, 6, 8? Those are evens. 4, 6, 8, or odds like 7, 9, and 11. Well, if my first integer is x, what do I add to either one of those, the 4 or the 7, to get to the next term? Yeah, x plus 2. And to get to the next one, x plus 4. And to get to the next one, x plus 6, and so on. So this is consecutive even, and this is consecutive odd. So the whole purpose is just you have to know how to identify your variables, okay? You have to know how you're identifying your variables. So we're going to start with our word problem. Do you know how to do these? Are you writing any of this down? You probably should. Okay. So it says we have how many consecutive positive odd integers? What are we looking for? We're looking for 2 of them, and they have to be odd. We're looking for odd integers. So if I'm looking for 2 integers, the first one is going to be x. What is the second one going to be if they're odd? What variable expression am I used to representing the second odd integer? Huh? Not 3. So the first odd integer is x. The first odd integer is x. What is the next odd integer? Yeah, x plus 2. That's how we're representing those. So those are our 2 integers. So we're finding 2 consecutive positive odd integers. So once we figure out our answers, we only want the positive one if we have a positive and a negative. It says such that the square of the first integer. How do I show that I'm squaring the first integer? Well, what variable is the first integer? X. How do I square that? I can't hear you. I hear a lot of mumbling. How do I square that? Okay, so what does that look like? X squared, right? Just x squared. That's how I square that. Okay. Is, what does the word is mean? Equals 9 less than, what does that mean? When I say 9 less than, that means I'm going to do what? I'm going to subtract 9. 9 less than 10 times the second integer. 10 times the second integer. Well, 10 times the second integer, that's x plus 2. So this is the quadratic equation that I'm going to have to solve. This is my quadratic equation. So what am I going to do first? I have to distribute. So x squared equals, well, 10 times x is 10x, plus 10 times 2 is 20, minus 9. I want you to write this down right here.
I did this.
You already did this? Okay, I still want you to write it down.
All right.
It's your warm up. You get points for that. So I have x squared equals 10x plus, what can I combine over there? So what is that? 11. X squared equals 10x plus 11. So after I combine like terms, I have to set it equal to 0. So I'm actually subtracting 10x from both sides, and I'm subtracting 11 from both sides. So minus 10x minus 11 minus 10x minus 11. So when I do that, I have x squared minus 10x minus 11 equals 0. So once I set it equal to 0, I have to solve by factoring. So let's solve this by factoring. So what am I looking for? What's the product that I'm looking for? Negative 11. I'm looking for two numbers that multiply to negative 11. What is the sum that I'm looking for? Negative 10. So what are two numbers that multiply together to give me negative 11? Go ahead, Michael. Negative 11 and positive 1. That means that I have x minus 11 times x plus 1 equals 0. Remember that the root is opposite of the factor. So if the factor is x minus 11, the root is positive 11. If the factor is x plus 1, the root is x is negative 1. So are both of my answers odd? Yep. Are both of my answers positive? No. This one is not positive. So it's not a good answer because it's not positive. We're only looking for odd positive answers. So that means that x is 11. The first integer that we're talking about is 11, and the second integer that we're talking about is 13. Those are your two answers.